Hello everyone and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Protoss versus Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on 2,000 atmospheres. Spawning right here in the bottom left corner of the map, playing with the blue Protoss probes from South Korea, we have hero. His opponent in the opposite corner, playing with the red Zerg drones, likewise also from Korea, we are looking at Solar's main hatchery. Alrighty, so another Zerg versus Protoss. Now, I've heard that once again, we've got ourselves a little bit of build order variety in this particular one. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited to find out exactly what hero is going to bring to the table. I mean, if you haven't really watched a whole lot of StarCraft 2 over the last couple of years, basically, until a balance patch went live, literally like when was this, like a week ago? Yeah, the matchup was kind of still. We just saw the same build order over and over and over again, and now that the Void Ray is not as good as it once was, I mean, I still expect that Void Ray openers are going to be pretty common, but at the very least, there's now a lot of variety in the build orders once again, and it almost feels like you have to learn the matchup all over again. I've been laddering quite a bit myself, and I found that, like, I have practically forgotten everything. Okay, not quite. I still know roughly how to defend against, you know, ground toss openers, but every single one of them requires a different approach to defend properly. And I guess hero right here is thinking about faking it. Really? He's not doing anything real. He's just gonna go for a good old gateway. But the thing is, Zerg players are already a little bit on edge, right? So Solar pulling 2 drones. He assumes that this is a fake cannon rush, but like, you never know. Alright, it is a cancel. As you can see there, we're still a couple of drones pulled away. Didn't start mining gas here either, because obviously against a cannon rush you don't really need any gas. Zerglings and, well, a couple of queens would be nice. Maybe a spine crawler if you really need it, but yeah, just to be a little bit annoying. And I think a lot of Protoss players right now are having a really good time. Okay, they have found out that even though the Adept openers didn't get buffed, Dark Templar are as good as they always were. Oracle starts, even like I've seen double Phoenix openers. Basically, there's like a huge variety of build orders that has always been viable, but that just simply, they didn't really play because the Void Ray opener was just simply so much better than everything else. And I think a lot of Protoss players are really enjoying this variety right now as well in the builds that they've been able to execute. All right, look at that. So, rather than a Stargate opener, we see ourselves a couple of things. So, first off, this Overlord over here, yes, was scouting the gas right over there that was being spent in the cybernetics core. Now, as you can see, the warp gate research, it didn't start up right from the get-go, which probably puts this Zerg player is probably putting the Protoss right now on a Stargate opener, but it's not. Already a little mind game being played right here by hero. I think he may have delayed one of his gases or something along those lines. Either way, he delayed the warp gate research and still decided to go for, I guess it's because it's a stalker quickly. Where are we? Really? We're not even gonna try and shoot at that one? He's expecting, I guess, a second Overlord, which is another change. So Zerg players now for the last 2 years or so have only ever been scouting with a single Overlord. Because, well, if you send the second Overlord across, 9 times out of 10 games, you're gonna lose it, right? Because there's gonna be a Void Ray out, and losing 2 Overlords to a single Void Ray is not quite ideal. Anyways, mind games are going on everywhere already. So, first off, hero goes for a Stalker first, for a delayed Cybernetics Core upgrade. Then he goes straight into a robo facility and now into a robotics bay. Without Overlord speed, Solar is not going to be able to scout this. And he's not going to go Overlord speed because you need to commit to that a little bit sooner. This means that at this point, unless this Overlord manages to scout everything, which it might, but assuming the Stalker is in the right position, it shouldn't. But I mean, Protoss probably isn't expecting that there is going to be a second Overlord out there. Anyways, I think that this opener right here from our Protoss is going to be completely unscouted. Why cut that so close? I think it's going to be completely unscouted. Okay, so we've got ourselves a little bit of Prism speed together with a Disruptor. So this is not a build that I've seen in a very long time. It's basically a Disruptor drop, where you load, I guess, 2 of those bad boys into a Prism, and then you just simply, well, start raiding those Zerg mineral lines. And if you can, well, grab a queen as well, that would be really nice. Overlord going in right now. Solar with the, yeah, he scouts it right now. Solar right here with a little bit of vision figures it out. So hero did not anticipate there to be a second Overlord. It's not a very common thing. All right, so I guess, ooh, wait, what? So it's a single Disruptor right here, and now double Prism instead. That is very curious. And now we're gonna go double Stargate. Okay. So all the roads eventually do lead to Rome, it seems, but let's see how much damage he can do. Only a single worker. Not what you're looking for. Look how fast that speed prism is, though. Yeah, that's why we see spore crawlers right now around the map. Just to make sure that he can hopefully snipe that prism. A couple of slow zealots being warped in. I am unsure. What the... I'm unsure as to what the 4 zealots were gonna do. So we have an immortal right now as a follow-up with +1 air flyers, air weapons rather, and then also this doesn't make any sense. Is this double Phoenix? I think I think Protoss players are just having a little bit of fun right now, where they're like, okay, I'm gonna make a little bit of everything. It's very dangerous though, bro. Yeah, if you lose the prism right here with the disruptor in it, you're not gonna be able to do very much. One big issue, I think, with this opener though here from Protoss is that Zerk is never gonna allow a 3rd base at this pace. And can you really go for a 2-base push based around Phoenixes? So I think that Zerk probably just saw the cybernetics core spin again, so that means that some air weapon upgrade is researching. Yeah. I mean, Solar is sitting at 63 workers, which is a lot. And Protoss is only sitting at 45. So, like, every minute that goes by right now, Solar is heavily outgrowing hero. So either we see like a big 2-base all-in, and judging by the fact that there were like 6 additional gateways being added on, I guess that's what we have. But then with Phoenixes, this is new territory. This is a fake 3rd, right? There's no way you're gonna go 8 gateways. I think it's 8 gateways. Okay, very nice scout right here by Solar. Yeah, he's faking a 3rd right there. So he's shown that there is a probe at the 3rd base location, but he's not actually gonna go for one. I guess the Phoenixes are here to like... Bro, he's having such a good time right now. He goes back home? Are you kidding? I thought maybe the idea was that the Phoenixes would kill all of the Overlords, and then Zerk wouldn't be able to reinforce very well. So, wait, we're... So I have full vision of the minimap. I know everything that's going on, and I have no idea what's happening. Alright. My main concern here for Protoss at this point is even though, like, he's making a lot of strategic, you know, cool moves, that he's not gonna be able to actually face this Zerk in a straight-up game. Because right now we're talking 73 drones versus 47 probes, and sure, these Phoenixes can deal some damage, but every minute that goes by right now, there's more than 1,000 resources in the favor of the Zerk. Alright. I like Phoenix openers. As I say every single time there is a Phoenix opener, even though that doesn't really happen all too often. I think Phoenix openers are awesome. The problem with Phoenix openers is that they can't really win you the game straight up. And obviously they can't attack hello, Mr. Zealot. Zealot, go up. Alright, anyways. Turn around, dude. You gotta take one step to the right. That way. Come on. Anyways. I guess since there's already Disruptor tech, going for a Roach-based push is not really a great option. Because, I mean, Disruptors obviously are really, really good against it. Plus, there's Immortals as well. So I don't think that Zerk can really push. But you can see that Solar is also a little bit confused about what the best course of action here is. Normally, against a Robo Bay opener, you go straight into a Hive. Or like a big, like, Zerkling Roach Ravager based push with maybe some Banelings for support. But usually a Hive is the standard to go into Vipers. Because the idea is that, like, both Colossi as well as Disruptors are weak against Vipers, right? Because you can abduct them. But I can imagine if there's, like, well, half a dozen Phoenixes up in the air, and I guess there were like a dozen in total, Vipers are going to be kind of hard to pull off if you don't have any Hydras. But if you're going to have to go into Hydras then as well, then suddenly Protoss is given a lot of time. So I guess Solar is making the correct move right here by going for a Zerkling, Baneling, Queen Roach Ravager army, but it's also going to be pretty all-in. Like, this is not an army that he can... I mean, he's not going to be able to transition towards a Hive very comfortably off of this. It's something that needs to deal damage. I'm fairly certain what he's going to do is just morph in a lot of Ravagers, and then probably a lot of Banelings. But maybe not, I don't know. He starts up +2 melee right now, so... I was thinking maybe go for a push right here. So despite all of this... despite all of this craziness that's going on, hero has still managed to secure a third base. He's only at 66 workers. We're 10 minutes into the game. And even though it feels like both players have been making themselves up for like an all-out attack for the better part of 10 minutes, neither of them has actually committed to anything. Are you seeing how much fun Zerg versus Protoss can be? When it's not Void Ray opener every single game. Ooh, even in a game where there's no Void Rays, I'm still complaining about Void Rays. No, but seriously though. Void Ray openers are still going to be viable too. It's just not necessarily going to be, you know, the end-all, be-all approach. So again, Void Rays, they now built 6 seconds slower. So a little bit of that can be negated by going for a chrono boost, right? Which usually is what you do anyways. But then also, they cost 50 minerals more. So it's not the end of the world. You can still definitely make them work. And I think it's still probably going to turn out to be the standard. Just like one Void Ray. Ooh, Prism goes down here. That's actually pretty rough. So the first time that a hero moves across the map with his main army, the Prism goes down, which is like the last thing you can really afford. Alright, so there's that Ling Bane-based army. Great force fields right here by our Protoss. Oh my god. Sorry, I missed that. Let me back off. Alright, so while Protoss is microing over here, hero has vision of these Banelings long before they actually hit the Nexus. Yeah, that's a mistake. That's a huge error. Getting a couple... Oh my... Really? Ah. Getting a couple of Stalkers right there on the back of it as well. Obviously, since Protoss is so micro-heavy, right, with a Groundtul's army, they, generally speaking, will be paying most of their attention to their army, so... He evidently didn't look at the minimap right there, and because of it, took a huge chunk of his, well, probes out, right? So Solar managed to deal a lot of damage, and he's not done yet. Apparently continuously trying to deal damage over here, too. Forcing Stalker Warpins is always good. That Immortal over there. Eating Banelings to the face while gunning down whatever it can. Third Nexus, though, in a lot of trouble. And I'm fairly certain that this should be a Solar victory. But you can see that's, like, hero is having a grand old time. Hero is having a blast. Quite literally, I guess, when you go for a Disruptor opener. Oh my god. Ugh. Ugh, I hate it. Ugh. Oh my god, really? A Sentry too? So a Sentry, a Disruptor, and then an Immortal basically go down there for free. Maybe a couple of Force Fields or something like that would have been nice. Yeah, Micro here definitely not perfect. I mean, we don't have an a Prism anymore either. At this point, we're talking 108 army supply right here for Zerg, or I guess 96 right now for just 89 of Protoss. So it's not like Solar is running away with the victory, but if this game goes on for a little while longer, I think that Solar will come out ahead. That being said, hero does still have a very menacing army at this point in the game. Then again, we've seen Stalkers pulling rabbits out of hats in the past. Ooh, this is a really nice move right here by Solar, though. Okay. Finishing off his own Robo facility. Yeah, I think hero probably committed to a little bit too much, right? Like, he went Robo-Tech, Robo-Bait-Tech, and then he also delayed, like, his Warp Gate research. He went Stalker first, and then double Stargate as a follow-up. I mean, he did a lot. Look at this. Look at this. When's the last time you seen an Ultralisk Cavern in Zerg versus Protoss? I mean, they used to be played for a little while against Skytals just because you could kill the Disruptors and the High Templar and stuff with them, but not against a Groundtul's-based army. The main reason why Ultras usually aren't played is because of the Immortals, and I don't think it's a good choice over here if I'm being brutally honest with you, but I guess in Solar's mind, he's like, okay, I've killed a Robo facility. My opponent might remake it, or he might not. Disruptor, Disruptor, Disruptor. Okay. Probes, hello. Are we not? Yeah, okay. Alright. That was questionable. Very slow reaction, and now all of a sudden, 48 additional Zerglings are coming up. Adrenal Glance is done as well, so they have a ton of additional attack speed, and they'll be happy to show it to you right here in these main battles. I think that, yeah, Solar is sending back whatever he can. This is a scary army, though. I know I've said this like 5 times already. Oh, that was a huge Disruptor hit right there. That's a very scary Protoss army. Where are all those Zerglings? I guess those just get blown up by the one Disruptor hit right there? Oh my god. Oh my god, is hero... No, there's no way, right? I mean, one more of those Disruptor hits and it would be... Yeah, it would be GG, but eventually, Zerg has a little bit too much. I'm fairly certain that was just a strategic loss right there for hero, okay? Hero is like, okay, look at my eyes. I'm a crazy man. I can do anything I like. You should not be testing me. I'm a maniac. I could pull out a knife at any point. Don't test me. He's done a little bit of everything in game number 1. I don't think it was very effective, but at the very least it looked to me like he was having fun. So wait, he went Stalker first, very quick Robo Facility, delayed the Warp Gates, showing it to his opponent, then going straight into a Robo Bay, Warp Prism Speed with a single Disruptor, and then a couple of Zealots in there for, I don't know, and then a second Prism? That was very awkward, very strange. Maybe it's because he got scouted and he wanted to go for additional Disruptors there instead. Anyways, the Disruptor opener in general is not one that we see a whole lot. At least we used to not see it. I guess hero's like, you know what? Let me make a variant of a build that never really happens. Very cool. Anyways, Solar. Doing Solar things. I mean, Solar is your quintessential standard Zerg player. He doesn't really do anything fancy. He doesn't really play a crazy style, but he's really good at playing a normal game. So, according to Aligilek, when it comes to the current top players over in South Korea, so the list goes Maru in first place, then Dark, Cure, Zest, Solar, Rogue, Byun, Hero, Trap, and Bunny. I would say that's fairly accurate. Rogue probably should be a little bit higher up on that list, but other than that, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Hero has been steadily climbing through the ranks. So Hero, he went to the military, came back, and yeah, he's been improving ever since. It's really good to see. The fact that he's already, according to Aligilek at the very least, in the top 10 for South Korea again is awesome. I know that Classic has been rapidly improving as well. Classic, another old school Pro Tools hero who came back after the military recently. Both of them have been looking very promising, so. Anyways, Hero, the Pro Tools hope. Especially with Zest allegedly going to the military pretty soon, and then Trap going to the military pretty soon as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Hero and Classic are going to be the big Pro Toolses from Korea. I gotta look at some MaxPax games as well, actually. So MaxPax obviously has always been playing his own style. I wonder what he's currently doing in Pro Tools vs. Zerg. There's not that many replays available yet for PvZ. Or for, you know, the new patch in general. So, I mean, there'll be more over the next couple of weeks, of course. So once again, by the way, Hero going for... No. Ooh! Man, I feel like he could have tried to get another shot in. Anyways, Hero once again opening up with a very quick Stalker. So, Stalker openers by themselves are already out of well, what was the established standard. Right? So, Stalker openers are awesome if you want to deny your opponent vision. But with the Void Ray meta, it didn't really matter, right? So once again, look at this. Robo Bay straight up. So this is a 3-minute Robo Bay. Oh, looks like there was a little bit of a pause in the game. Anyways, if you don't go Overlord speed, it's going to be hard to scout. Then again, Solar once more, going for a second Overlord to the other side of the map. Honestly, if you're Hero, and since this is a best of 5, right? There is going to be a game number 3 for sure. I think you open up Stargate in the next one. Oh, it's the Observer right over there. He didn't actually show. Ooh, that's also kind of sexy. So he used the Surveillance mode right there on the Observer. That will give it like an additional, you know, little circle around it. The radius increases. And Zerg didn't see that Observer. So at this point, Solar doesn't know what granted that high ground vision. So the build, I guess the Robo Opener hasn't been sold yet. Although, yeah, Solar's going to find out. Once again, Prism Speed, as well as Disruptors. I think if you're Hero, you're opening up with a Stargate next game. I mean, 2 free Overlords early on seems like a no-brainer. That makes up for the 50 mineral increase, right? If you can kill, you know, 100 minerals worth of Overlords. And likely supply block the Zerg as well. Or like 100 minerals more worth of Overlords. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, Solar is thinking the same thing as well, so he may very well not go for a second Overlord Scout in that next game. A little bit of rock, paper, scissors, action, rather. All right, so double Disruptor this time around. And once again, double Stargate. Really? So we're going 4 gateways. We're going a very quick Robo. And then a single prism with Is it once again going to be Phoenixes? Like, my main issue is the fact that you just don't expand very quickly with a base, you know, or with an army like this. These slow units shouldn't really get any damage done, but I guess with 2 Disruptor hits, you could stress the multitasking. Ooh, going after the larva right there, okay. +1 air weapons once again starts up. Very dangerous movement right here, by the way, from the Protoss player, moving that Stalker around. So Disruptors, by the way, they do have a little bit of a cooldown on that Purification Nova ability. So I like the zoning here from Solar. Nicely done. I like this opener, man. It's so fun. It's so good. So Zerk has absolutely no idea that there is a Phoenix follow-up. But then again, it was shown in the previous game as well. Maybe he scouted... maybe he did see the Cybernetics core spinning, actually. So maybe he does know at this point. So, with the standard Stargate opener that we saw for like 2 years, Protoss takes a 3rd base at 350. Like 345, 350, depending on the map. Look at this. We're 620 right now. And only just now is when that Nexus drops. So Protoss has to justify going for such a late 3rd Nexus by dealing a substantial amount of damage. And so far, it's not happened yet. Protosses are going back to the drawing board, I guess. Ooh, those hits are all really wonderful, though. Look at this. Perfect game so far. Anyways, Protosses are back to the drawing board, experimenting. They're going through puberty again. Soon herO's gonna be smoking and, like, making all kinds of bad life choices. No, but seriously. What's going on right now? He has no, like, the logic. I don't know. So, this time around, we have Solar reacting a little bit quicker as well. He's like, okay, this timing seems similar. I'm going to go for melee upgrades right from the get-go, which I really like. There's the Evo Chamber. So, he went for melee upgrades right away. He's going for Spore Crawlers right now. At this point, he doesn't have that much yet, though. Okay. Ooh, 7 drones. All right. You know what? Maybe herO thought about it and he's like, you know what? In the previous game, what went wrong is that I just messed up my micro and I didn't do as good of a job. Maybe he accidentally started up a 2nd War Prism there and he meant to start up a Disruptor. Maybe that was some sort of mistake, right? Anyways, slow Zealots. Yeah, this is not going to happen, Solar. +1 melee isn't even done yet. This is a disconnected fight right here for Solar as well. He's going to get destroyed. Oh. Really? Hold up. So he loses this fight over... I mean, it's not a brilliant position to be in, and I guess he's concerned about the counterattack. Hydralisk then even gets planted down, by the way. Definitely a bit of an early GG, but I guess he's got no answer for the Phoenixes. So even though... Yeah, actually, there's going to be soon 14 Phoenixes right here. That's going to be... at least 20 dead workers. Probably most of the Overlords as well. Yeah, fair enough. Next up. Curious Minds. That opener from herO is... it's kind of wild. What's funny to me, right, is that... just to clarify, there hasn't been any buffs to the Robo facility, to the Twilight Council. There haven't been any changes to those units at all. These openers were always already in the game. The only thing that's changed is that the Stargate opener is a little bit less appealing right now. And it seems to have created a resurgence in the build order variety. The problem was simply that, I guess it was the catch-all, right? Like, it was just the go-to approach in every single one of your games. And if that's the case, why do anything else? Anyhow. Curious Minds, smallest map in the current map pool. Definitely something that herO can potentially abuse. I was suggesting a Stargate opener in this game just because Zerk has been scouting with 2 Overlords every single game so far. But Curious Minds, yeah, it's good for like Twilight-based openers, right? So I've seen some crazy builds where Protoss goes for like a 3rd Nexus right over here. And then they open up with Glaive to Depths. Now, normally with Glaive to Depths, you need a Twilight Council and a robotics facility. The idea is, the idea being that you use the robo facility to produce a prism, and then you can reinforce the adepts. However, since Curious Minds is so small, especially when Zerk takes this triangular base, right, the one on the low ground here to the left, you can go for a quick 3rd Nexus and then use the pylon that's powering the Nexus to reinforce with instead. Not really viable on the other maps, but because the ground-to-ground distance from 3rd to 3rd is, yeah, pretty short, it is an opportunity. Therefore, I actually thought Solar would go for this as their 3rd base, but... anyhow. Yeah, could still go for Stargate opener if you really want to. Alright. So I've been casting most of these games so far from the Protoss' point of view. Let us look at what Solar sees, right? So Solar once more has got a 2nd Overlord moving towards the right side of the map. He sees that something starts spinning right there inside of the Cybernetics core right away, and he sees a Chrono Boost right there on the Stalker. He obviously doesn't see that it's Warp Gates. He also doesn't see that it's a Stalker until it actually pops out. Alright. Zerglings going around the map. They know that there's a probe out there somewhere. Okay, Stalker at this point starts attacking the Overlord. So most of his attention right now is gonna be on that Ovi right here. Now I love this move from hero. Hero scouting for the 2nd Overlord. Look at this. So at this point, hero knows that there's another Overlord on its way towards the main base. So at this point, what does Solar do? How do you figure it out? What do you know? Alright, so let's put it together. So far, we've seen 2 adepts pop out of those warp gates, or out of those gateways. We've seen warp gate research right away, and we've seen a Stalker. So warp gates is 50 gas, Stalker is 50 gas. That's 100 gas down the drain right away. In my mind, since Stargates are 150 gas and Twilight Council and Robo Facility are 100 gas each, it would be very hard to actually justify a Stargate opener. It could be a Stargate opener, but then it would be incredibly delayed. If that's the case, normally an Oracle shows up at like 4 minutes or so into the game. I don't expect one to show up any sooner than like 4:20 in this one. Obviously, it could theoretically still be an Oracle opener where they save up a couple of them and are trying to play the full-on mind game, right? Definitely still an option. So I wouldn't be surprised if Solar takes like a, I don't know, a Spore Crawler at like 4.5 minutes or so in every single one of these mineral lines, because it also counters another potential opener right here for Protoss, and that is the Dark Shrine. So it could be Twilight Council into Dark Shrine. It could be Twilight Council into Glaives. It could be Twilight Council into, you know, Blink. It could obviously be a Robo Facility into Disruptor drops. There's a huge variety right now, and Solar has to be concerned about all of them. He doesn't really know. So as we can see right there on the production tab, it seems like it's Glaive to Depths together with a Dark Shrine. Solar at this point doesn't know. So he's been sitting at 42 workers. And that's as many as he dares to create. He's been making non-stop army here for a little while already. Alright. Prism over here has been spotted, so Solar at this point knows that it's likely a Twilight Council start, judging by the timing right there of that Prism. So he flies in the 2nd Overlord into the main base too. The entire time here, Zerk doesn't know, right? So now he sees some additional gateways. Now he sees the Dark Shrine. Now he knows what's hype. What's up. So, does he have enough army here? I think he should. Ooh, it's actually additional gateways here, too. So I think he saw one gateway there being added on, but there's a couple more right there in the back. Oh, he even decides to shade forward. I guess there's a prism up above, yeah. Spore Crawler here is pretty late. But honestly, the Dark Shrine just existing has already forced out 3 Spore Crawlers. So that's 3 drones, right? Plus the cost of the Spore Crawlers itself. So he doesn't even really need to make any Dark Templar here. But notice how much of a strategic game it becomes for the Zerg. Rather than just, you know, it's a Void Ray into another Void Ray into, you know, like there's a lot more here. Zerg players have almost gotten lazy with the way that they defend. Now, anyways, this was a huge hit right there by Solar, though. Sniping those units there is a massive pickoff. Makes it hard, actually, for Protoss right now to go for a follow-up. So this was actually a flawless game, I guess, up to that point. Losing an Archon there is super painful. I love this as well. Observer together with a Prism and then 4 Adepts. Just to snipe a couple of Creep Tumors. Unlike Zerg versus Terran, Protoss usually doesn't face off against a Zerg who's going for like heavy creep spread as a... Well, I mean, apparently Solar does have some extra queens, but usually you don't have as many queens against Protoss as you do against Terran. Very aggressive shade-ins. Apparently totally okay with just taking 2 of those out. Anyways, hero going for a super late third, right? So that is something worth noting. Again, this third is like a good couple minutes later than normal. So I do really like this position right here for Solar. But it's a hard game to play. It's a very different game to play. Okay. Don't lose the Immortal. If you lose the Immortal... Okay, Prism is here. Gotta drop off a couple units. Alright. If you lose the Immortal here, that's a disaster. So it looks to me like it's gonna be a Immortal Sentry-based follow-up right here. Hero still has... Okay. 2 upgrades coming. So +1 ground weapons as well as the Blink Stalker research. There's so much weirdness going on in these games that, like... If I was the Zerg here, I'd be so confused about what is actually happening. So, it looks like Hero is ready to attack. So, he's made a Dark Shrine, but 0 Dark Templar. He's gone for a third base, but he could have taken one like a minute sooner than he actually did. It looked to me like it was maybe an Immortal Sentry-based all-in, but that's not what it was either. He just sort of sits there and macros up. Changeling over here scouts everything. He's seen the timing of the Robo Bay. He's seen the upgrades researching. Protoss still has a huge force, though. The thing is, Solar's had the economical advantage for the majority of the game. Right now, he's lost it. But I've got a feeling that Solar can... Oh, by the way, I didn't set the scoreboard, did I? Yikes. Anyways, I've got a feeling that Solar's army here is going to be vastly superior. 114 versus 58 supply. Hero going for a variety of tricks. Trying his very best to, like, blindside the opponent. But apparently Solar is onto him. Oh my god, even losing the Prism right there. He literally flew the Prism into the Corrosive Biles. Yeah, okay. So this is the problem when you try to play 200 IQ strategies. If your opponent calls the bluff, you get absolutely destroyed. And I guess that's kind of what's happening over here. Now, okay. The Overseers are gone. So, yeah, 20 workers end up going down here. Solar forced to back off. 20 workers is already a little bit too much. Disruptor. Poor rabbit out of a hat, Mr. Disruptor, man! Oh my god, he decides to snipe it! That's too late! Yep. Huge Disruptor connection right there. So despite the fact that he just, lost like 30 supply worth to 1 Disruptor hit, still not enough. Imagine forgetting to set the scoreboard. Ay, 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 ay. Confusing times, man. I know there's gonna be a couple of you that are like, but Lowko, huh? I thought we already watched 2 games. How can it be 0-0? That makes, huh? Did I just hallucinate 2 games? No guy in the comment section. They actually did happen. It's just that I made a mistake, okay? Like, I have to manually look. I can make it a, like, you see that? I can make it a, you know? Apparently, I've got all the power, but it doesn't really change anything as far as the series go. Or as far as the series goes. Yeah, that probe showing up nice and early. Alright. Void Ray Opener? I would go Void Ray Opener now if I was Hero. If Zork is once more gonna send out 2 Overlords, I'd be happy to pay 50 minerals more for the Void Ray and kill, you know, 100 minerals more of Overlord. That's just basic math. If at that point Solar thinks, okay, I can't go, you know, say this goes to game number 5. If at that point Solar thinks, okay, I can't go for a double Void Ray Scout anymore, you can play a crazy mind game on him in game number 5. Ah, hey. Obviously, Overlord speed is an option. I always have people asking, Lowko, why don't we see Overlord speed a lot? So the thing is, with Overlord speed openers, sure, you can scout out exactly what is going on, which is awesome, but it's 100 minerals and 100 gas. So that's 200 minerals, or 200 resources rather, down the drain. And sometimes, if you scout out exactly what it is the opponent is going for, now you know, but now you also have 200 resources less to actually invest into defending whatever it is you're going up against. So there's this weird dynamic, right? Where say like it's a 5 gateway all-in, like one of those openers where you only go for a single warp prism. Sure, you can scout that it's coming, but you literally cannot afford to defend it because you've invested into Overlord speed. It's a trade-off you gotta make. So sometimes it works out wonderfully, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, so there's the Stargate. Okay. Double Overlord. Solar at this point will see that it's a... I wonder if Solar is gonna see that it's a... So he sees the timing right there as well as the Adept. I wonder if he's gonna send that second Overlord back home when he sees the Adept first. So at this point, he's seen the late Warp Gate research. I think so. I think that's what you should do. Okay. Adept is scouted. No? I'm sorry, Overlord. I'm fairly certain you should be sent back home, but... Yeah, you're gonna die. I'm sorry, bro. Hate to break it to you. Unless, like, you're gonna hide over here on the right side of the map and the Overlords don't get spotted. That's an option, but... A good old Void Ray start! Alright, so this is something that... Solar has had practice against for the longest time, right? That Overlord is just contemplating life. It's just chilling. Alright, so herO's already rallied right there on top of it. This Overlord over here scouting its death as well. Lasers. Oracle is a follow-up. Cancels the Oracle. And goes for a Robo facility instead. So, obviously, the Overlord right there saw that something was producing after the Void Ray came out. Spore Crawlers are coming up because of it. herO seems to be very content. Yeah, he's scouting right now as well. He seems to be very content with dealing damage just by having the opponent scout out what's going on. Like with the Dark Shrine in the previous game and now the Oracle. I mean, the Oracle was basically a free... Oh my god, really? Oh! The Philosopher Overlord somehow lived. herO didn't think it could be any further than right over here. Wow. That moment when you've been contemplating life for this long. And you get to live it a little while longer. Very nice. You should write down your thoughts, Mr. Overlord. I feel like you've got some wisdom. So, it's actually 6 gateways with glaives as a follow-up. This third base is 4.5 minutes. Okay, so Solar sees the timing of it there. Does he pick up on it? Because the problem is... Normally, like, once again, he's got very limited scouting info, right? Normally, with a Void Ray opener, this third goes down at 350. That's beautiful. Very nice mating ritual right here with the Void Ray. I think that's what it is anyways. It is springtime after all. Does he pick up on the fact right now that that is a delayed Nexus? And does he realize that it's gonna be an all-in? So, Solar already has 58 workers. He needs to stop. He's got too many drones. He needs to stop. He goes 2 more gases. If he... Oh my god. If he adds on more drones right here... Oh, he does. I think it's a gigantic misread. Yep. herO has been selling him a pretty picture for a little while, and it turns out it's a fake. That is gonna be an awful lot of adepts. Solar starts up the unit production right here. Okay. This I really, really like. That's the thing that Cyril does. So he completes the wall off over here. But the problem is that's so many that they can just kill the queens, right? Plus, there's obviously still the prism too, so you can still send them in the base. Unless you lose... Oh my... Really? Protoss players, why do you make Protoss players look so bad? What is that? Like, there's like 3 units you gotta pay attention to. You can, like, think of all the adepts as one... What was that? Come on, bro. That's so sloppy. That's so sloppy. Anyways, apparently there's so many adepts right now that he doesn't really care. He's killing a freaking hatchery with it right now. Yeah, so there's the reinforcing. How did we not find these? How did these... Oh. Should still be a hero victory, but... How did those drones somehow get it to the 4th base? I have no clue. But they made it. This is not a justifiable attack yet for hero, but I have a hard time believing that this isn't gonna be a million workers very soon. Yeah, okay. It's starting to add up right now. How is... Hero, did you just, like, stop thinking? I don't know. These drones are like, okay, let me get the minerals. He probably just doesn't think. Maybe he's assuming he's already killed those drones? I don't know. Anyhow. GG. Very cool strategic thinking. Very sloppy execution. The amount of times I see Prisms randomly dying at the pro level is honestly, it like, there's some secondhand embarrassment for me, you know? Like, I am by no means a great Protoss player myself. But come on. There's like literally, there's the Adept army and then there's the Prism. That's the only two things you really need to be paying attention to. Obviously, he's probably looking at home and he's macroing and stuff, and I get it, but... You also know that, you know, you've opened up with a Stargate, and therefore there's Spore Crawlers out, and obviously there's gonna be Queens, right? Like, it's not rocket science. Keeping the Prism in the back is a little bit, Anyways, I'll shut up about it, but it always seems a little funny to me. Feels to me that at this level, that shouldn't really happen. Anyhow. Hero. What are we gonna do this time around? It's match point right now for him. Obviously, it was a match point for Solar already previously. Solar dealing with a lot of limited info. I wonder if at some point there's gonna be a Zerg opener that will utilize very quick Overlord speed. So you can go for Overlord speed before Link speed. The problem with that is that you can be caught off guard against a couple of Adepts in the earlier stages of the game. So, yeah. I wonder if that's a good idea, though. Like, I can imagine if, like, for example, a Serral, right, would go up against someone who he thinks he's better than. So, like, he thinks he's you know, he's much better than the player he's facing off against. I'm fairly certain he would go Overlord speed every time. He could probably make up for that, you know, loss of resources by playing a cleaner game than the opponent can. So I'm wondering at what point in the game he would go for Overlord speed. Would he go OV speed first? Or would he go Link speed first and then leave the drones in gas and then... Does he leave 2 drones in gas? Like, how would he approach it? I don't think Solar is going to make any changes, by the way. But ultimately, it makes sense to go for... Yeah, he pulls drones out of gas right now. Ultimately, it makes sense to go for an Overlord speed start, I think. So this time around, since it was a Void Ray opener previously... Solar is leaving 1 Overlord at home, only scouting with a single one. At this point, it is a very quick Twilight Council. Hero once again selling the story that it's a Stargate opener by delaying the Warp Gate research. He could have started that one up a little bit sooner, but he didn't. Normally, you leave this OV over here to scout if there's a 3rd gateway unit coming out of the gateway as well. So Solar is going to chill over here in this position for a little while longer. Hero also calling the bluff from Solar by putting the Twilight Council all the way in the corner. So an Overlord doesn't even really need to go in, right? You'd expect the Twilight Council to be built over here. But Hero right here is thinking 4 steps ahead as well. He's like, okay, I've successfully scared my opponent with a Stargate built in the previous game. The odds of him sending the 2nd Overlord out aren't necessarily that big. But I guess upon seeing all of this right now, Solar is still gonna go for it. And he's, yeah, sending out the 2nd Overlord significantly later. You know what? I think he's still gonna scout this. Anyways, 3 gateways are coming up. Glaives is also researching. We're going 5 gateways here in total. A Gas Geyser gets planted down underneath that Overlord too, once again, just to scare the opponent even more so. So we're going for a load of gateways. I mean, I don't know what this Stalker is gonna do though. This Stalker is not gonna scout, or deny any scout, unless Solar flies it all the way in, but... Anyways, the problem is, obviously, it's super late already. Solar, if he needs to defend this, and he wants to defend this, he's going to have to start making units fast. Okay. He's going for a Spore Crawler right now. That is the just-in-case Spore Crawler. Now he sees the Glaive to Depths, or he doesn't see the Glaive to Depths, but he assumes the Glaive to Depths anyways. Alright, goes back home. Now he knows what he's going up against. Now, what exactly is he going up against? It's 5 gateways rather than 4. It's a lack of a robotics facility. So no prism. Now it's double Now it's double Stargate as a follow-up once again. Don't get me wrong, I like the, you know, I like it, but I also... This is weird. Yeah, this is very weird. So we have got 5 gateways, but no way to reinforce them other than, you know, by microing them and macroing them in at home, right? It's... So what was the point of glaives? Now this is a wonderful little scout right here from Solar. Solar, actually, you gotta get to that corner, my man. Alright, he does. So he sees that it's once again a Stargate transition. A double Stargate transition, even. This is dealing more damage than I thought it would. Ay. This is sloppy, actually, from Solar. So Solar's like, okay. You've gone for a bunch of gateways. You've gone for glaives. You've done no damage. So I can go back to droning, right? And herO's like, no. I'm just going to send in more units. I know they're going to arrive later. But it's going to be confusing as hell to figure out what it is I'm going for. Okay, so once again, saving up a bunch of Phoenixes. No +1 air weapons this time around either. Okay. Spore Crawler. Do you go Hydra then? I don't know if you do. Hydras kind of suck to be... Yeah, he does go Hydra then. Hydras kind of suck against Protals. Like, in every way. There's so many counters that Protals has against Hydras. Alright, so there's the Phoenixes. Third Nexus, by the way, incredibly late once again, but apparently herO is very content with taking a 6.5 minute third. A little bit earlier than that, but... So Phoenix openers have really lost popularity over the last couple of years. I have not really seen them all too much. I've always loved them though. So at least from what I recall back in the day, Phoenix openers, what you did as a Zerg is you basically overmade drones. Because it's practically impossible not to lose drones and overlords to it. But since Protals doesn't really have the opportunity to finish the game with the Phoenixes, you can just sort of, you know, overmake stuff. Because they're not likely to hit you in the face with a big timing attack on the back of this. So at this point, he's forced out Hydralisks. I'm fairly certain every Protals player at this point is super excited whenever they see a Hydra. They're like, ooh, a Hydralisk. Hell yeah, I know like 17 units that would counter that. Like literally Glaive to Depths. Or for example, Zealots, Colossi, Disruptors, Archons. There's a whole lot of units that are really good against Hydras. And Hydras aren't really good until they have both of their upgrades done. Plus they need something in the front of them to defend, right? So it's actually kind of dangerous. Here's the Adepts once again. That's a lot of Adepts. We're at 17 Adepts, 69 drones. That's quite nice for now, but I've got a feeling we're soon going to be at less than that. I love this. Look at the Phoenixes waiting here at the ramp. Giving, oh my god, a free entrance right here for those units. That being said, I mean, yeah, there's a couple of Hydras here. Not that many, though. Phoenixes do also lose their effectiveness in the mid-game. Same can be said for Adept. So it makes sense to play them aggressively. Although herO doesn't really have a transition plan for them, it seems. Yeah, he's just picking off whatever he can, and he's actually dealing so much damage right now. Adepts, okay, managed to make their way towards the natural. Phoenix is still up in the air. 16 of them in total right now. There's pretty much always one that has energy for the lift up. And this is really, yeah, this is too much. GG is cold. Solar does not realize... Solar is not sure how to approach facing off against this army. And he decides to tap out. And with that, it's herO who obtains the victory.